Hi there, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on CBS 8's Right Now Studio. We are on Christmas Eve today, a wet Christmas Eve in San Diego. I'm meteorologist Evan Irani, joined alongside by Netta Iranpour. Hello.
Good morning.
It's the Met Squad.
It is. And Vanessa Paz, also
small
Met.
but mighty.
I mean, with our combined knowledge, we've got a lot to say.
Right? Our morning show has 3 meteorologists on staff
Pretty
at
solid.
all times. So we get excited about weather events, of course. This one happening on Christmas Eve
Christmas
has a lot
Eve.
of people wondering, what is going on?
So much talk around this atmospheric river, this Pineapple Express, poised to give us plenty of rain and wind across Southern California, including here in San Diego, over the next couple days. It's kind of a 3-day storm, but honestly, there's a lot of nuances in those 3 days to talk about. So,
As there usually is.
there always is, right?
And remember, we're in San Diego. We're the bottom, the bottom of these storms. We get the tail
The
end,
lightest
as
stuff.
we always
Point
say.
conception, I feel, is really where it starts to kind of like drop
Fizzle.
off.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's a lot to get to, and we're going to kind of break down all the details that we have of the storm so far, what we can tell you about what to expect. Let's bring in our graphics, where we can start off with wind, because I feel like ahead of the rain, we've only seen some sprinkles. This has kind of been the main talker of the day so far. Vanessa, you were saying that your husband literally mentioned how it was howling out there this morning.
I mean, he is he's a mail carrier for those who do not know.
working
Shout out to
hard.
Sean.
Shout out to Sean in the Bay Park area.
Yeah.
So he's really in the thick of these conditions. Yesterday, he was also kind of caught in that rain, that quick teaser of some rain that we had, and it was passed by very fast, and then it was dry for majority of the day.
Yeah. So
But yes, the wind right now picking up.
unsurprisingly, we got that wind advisory in effect through 10 p.m. I feel like overnight you can hear it kind of.
Yes. And I saw palm fronds. I had to swerve to get out of the way of one. There was a massive one that fell on the road. So that's always going to happen. And people have, their trash bins out, things like that.
Exactly.
Their Christmas decorations might get strewn around with the heavy wind.
So just be careful of that wind. On top of the wind advisory, we have a flood watch. This is kind of the setting the stage for what could be an upgrade once that rain starts to actually start. So this could end up being a flood advisory. We were just talking about how in LA, they just got a flash flood warning.
Yeah.
So, of course, the flood versus the flash flood, two kind of different scenarios to talk about.
Watch is the beginning.
Watch is the beginning,
Then-
saying the way that I've always heard it is the watch is like if you're baking a cake and you've got all the ingredients on the table, but you haven't actually started making the cake yet.
Okay,
Like,
that's
so
a good way to put
we,
that.
we have all the ingredients on the table. We know we're going to get wind. We know we're going to get plenty of rain, but it hasn't really started yet.
Right.
We haven't put
Okay.
those things into action yet. So it's likely that this will be upgraded to a warning or an advisory, likely a flood advisory. And then the warning would be a flash flood warning that the LA area has.
And I do want to quickly note, I know we were talking about the notes. I'm just here looking at all the data, all the climatology. So far since midnight, max wind gusts in Otay Mountain in the South Bay up to 48 miles per hour.
That's pretty strong.
47 miles per hour, but that was in San Clemente. So the strongest winds, it looks like, when we talk about those neighborhoods west of the mountains, have targeted the South Bay, 37 mile per hour winds down near IB, about 41 in Chula Vista at San Miguel. So yeah, the winds certainly have packed a punch since midnight. And as Evan mentioned earlier this morning in our newscast, that this is really just ahead of the bulk of the rain that's going to arrive. Yeah.
Just ahead of this kind of strong, moderate showers that are coming into the area. This would be the time that we'd start to see that wind really pick up.
Before
And
it gets
we
here.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really, though, today is a day where you mentioned baking a cake. There are probably people doing cozy activities
so.
like baking cakes, and, hopefully. But if people do need to run around and get the things done that they need,
Get
it's
to the
Christmas
store.
tomorrow, of course. I got one more gift I have to go get. What would be the ideal time,
I would
Evan?
say between now and noon, is
Okay.
and then once you get past noon is where things start to get a little bit more dicey.
You don't want to
That's
be
where we
out there,
see-
scrambling.
That stuff starting to build.
So would you tell our listeners and our viewers that today is peak activity and then things kind of start to break apart after this?
Absolutely. I mean, when we look at, we'll go into the future forecast through Thursday tomorrow, and Christmas Day looks so nice.
Okay.
Honestly,
right.
Can't
Such a
wait.
break from all the wet weather. So after tonight, I think so. I would honestly say if I had to pinpoint like a 5-hour stretch, it would probably be about noon to 5 today.
Okay.
where
Right.
We've got the
That's
heavy
when
stuff
you
coming
can
in.
continue baking that
Yes.
cake and make all the preps at home. Movie watching. I think people will do that. hopefully.
Absolutely.
I mean, why not? Stay cozy in your pajamas all day. But until noon, it's like the wind.
It's this.
Maybe
you know,
even
you see
sunny some
satellite radar.
spots. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some like mist and drizzle, but if we zoom out,
Okay, let's see.
look at all that.
Yes. And as we mentioned earlier, so many of those flash flood watches have transitioned officially into flash flood warnings. Especially for those sites with the burn scars.
Right.
Yes. So that's certainly
Yeah,
those areas we need to be cautious of.
Looks like it's just been sitting there all morning long. So that, of course, is always when you see the biggest problems when these storms stall. And for LA, our friends to the north, maybe you were trying to travel to go see family up there. That seems to be the biggest problem with this storm is that it's just sitting over LA now.
And that's kind of the big thing too, is I feel like, you know, people tune into San Diego's forecast, but it really is a Southern California forecast. Since, I mean, any given day, you've got a ton of people traveling from LA to San Diego and vice versa. So you're going to see a lot more impacts up in the LA area, it looks like.
And earlier when we saw that Mammoth Mountain live camera, I mean, whiteout conditions. The snow is coming at the main lodge up there. But this is a warmer system, right?
Yeah, as Pineapple Express.
I was just about to say,
Pineapple.
my next thought was, we have our weather tracker out there, Sean, the mail carrier. He texted me this morning and said, it's quite warm out.
Yeah.
I was not
And-
freezing last
Yeah.
night.
Upper 60s,
Yeah.
low 70s.
And this all kind of ties into the Pineapple Express factor of it all.
Hey.
You know, as we know that it stems kind of from the tropics, right? Hawaii, that's why it's branded the name Pineapple Express. And we know by now that warmer air can hold a lot more moisture, which is why we're just seeing kind of this fire hose of rain just kind of stalled over LA. You know, the system, it's warmer. And as I mentioned, more precipitable water within this storm.
And look at
fire
9 to
hose.
11,
Good
our
way to put it.
temperatures, 71, 72 degrees.
But then you can actually kind of see a cold front move through after that. You see that drop from the low 70, a 10-degree drop within 2-3 hours. And that's that cold front approaching.
And that's why we anticipate it to be quite breezy in that stretch too. You kind of see that wind symbol around 11 a.m. When we get to that lowest pressure gradient and we're in that transition period, we start to really see that wind pick up. So it's breezy now, but will likely be even breezier. Vanessa was just pulling up those wind gusts currently out across the mountains.
And a lot of times, I mean, we talk about storms coming from the Gulf of Alaska, for example. So that's typically in the winter months, you might see more of those colder storms that bring snow and to the Tahoe area, and they trickle all the way from Canada coming through the Pacific Northwest. They might get to San Diego, bring us like a drop, but this is different. So that I think people would need to like know the differences where it's not a low pressure system way up from the north. This is the atmospheric
taps
river
into this subtropical moisture, and that's that warm equatorial air that is pulled in, and like Vanessa mentioned, has so much potential for more rain with it, just because it really is a river in the sky. That's why it's called an atmospheric river. There's just so much on hand, so much moisture on hand. It's similar to when we see those hurricanes developing closer to the equator and sending all that warm weather. You know, it's humid, it's hot, it's kind of muggy. So we can run through what the next couple of hours look like on these models. Let's push through, and there's that leading
And what
edge.
is the red color? A lot of people always think, what does the red mean? I mean, it again looks very ominous, right? When you look at the models here, but it truly means that these are downpours, potential for thunderstorms.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you see, this is that kind of legend that we have there that shows the intensity of the rain. And in Oceanside, you might have even noticed that little lightning bolt that kind of came up when it came by. There is the potential in areas in red and orange for not only the downpours, but for some thunderstorms.
Right.
Okay.
And again, I kind of want to also note that even though we are seeing projected totals that could be up to an inch, it would be a completely different story if we saw thunderstorm activity, because those are very localized, heavy cells that cause downpours, downbursts of very strong winds. In fact, I believe that's what caused, the flooding that we saw a couple of years ago, close to 2 years ago, where those isolated thunderstorm cells that just really wreak havoc across some of our, they're very localized when it comes to those low level floors and valleys.
So LA's already reported those half-inch to full-inch per hour totals.
Okay.
The ideal that we see is that if we get those more red bands on the screen here, that they don't last that long, of course. That, if we're counting by the hour, that we get maybe a 10-minute downpour.
I mean, look, you moved through this into a few hours and it whooshed fast through Oceanside pretty quickly.
So ideally, it's not doing any stalling over San Diego County. It is pretty fast when you think of it from just, say, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Because after this, after 5 p.m., look at how much it tapers off into
look at that.
8 p.m.
Okay,
right?
so Santa will be here just fine.
Exactly.
Might even be dry. When Santa
he
gets
might
here.
miss all of the rain.
Right.
I would 100% be the kid. I was the kid who was so worried about if Santa is going to have safe conditions making his way in.
I mean, hey, the dry weather, we'll welcome you, Santa. Come on through. Because, it does look like, 9 o'clock, and it should be moving on. So.
And then, it just kind of tapers off into the overnight stretch.
So when we talk about Christmas Eve and rain on Christmas Eve, any guess as to which year that we last saw?
Were we alive
a wet
then?
Christmas?
I don't know.
We sure were.
I want to say I looked at the numbers, and I think it was something like...
so you cheated.
I cheated. Exactly. Sorry to
We knew we were having this talk.
All I remember is that in the last 25 years, I think we've only had 6 or 7 wet Christmas Eves.
Oh, okay. Do you remember the last one?
Was it in the last 5?
It was.
Oh, last 5.
2021.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We had
Christmas
about
Eve.
1800ths of an inch, so close to 2/10 of an inch.
The light stuff. We'll be that.
In downtown San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah. And then our wettest Christmas to date, of course, just as far as back as the archives go, was 1940 when we got close to 1.5 inches. So we got about 1 inch and 4/10
on Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So will we likely break that record? Probably not, unless we have, again, more of a stronger cell move through downtown or a thunderstorm.
Right.
But as of right now, we're predicting, as Evan's been mentioning, just about 1 inch, maybe a little over
And
that.
Oceanside would probably be the winner.
Yeah, so
of
we
that,
can look
right?
through
Not
here.
necessarily
First
downtown.
off, in our future forecast models, we don't want everyone to let their guard down on Thursday completely, because then on Friday we could have a little bit more rain on the way. So we run all the way through Friday morning. You can spend time outside. Be aware that, I think the kids want to jump around in the puddles.
What we want to do is have cinnamon rolls at the beach.
And
if we can do that.
You can also deliver some to
Meet me at the
Evan and
beach.
I.
Exactly. We'll join you.
Yes, we would be more than happy to be the tasters.
I was prepared to have umbrellas on Christmas Day, rain boots and all, to go down there and enjoy.
I'd
but
say the boots
we don't even need that.
still
The
keep,
boots,
because it will still have the puddles,
Yeah,
of
gotcha.
course. But then
Perfect.
after Thursday, going into Friday, here's 4 p.m. on Friday. We've got kind of a final little push of rain that comes through from about, I'd say 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's in the evening hours. It's going to be towards when a lot of people are going to sleep too. Here's midnight going into from Friday into Saturday. And there's still a little lingering, but after that, it leads us into a dry sunrise, ideally on Saturday.
This is actually timed out pretty well for Christmas Day itself, because all the kids, they get their skateboards and roller skates and things and want to be outside to put that to use.
Exactly.
But it looks like they can. Might just be a little soggy.
Santa should probably, I'd say, tonight into tomorrow, keep the gifts that were planned for outdoors maybe inside, just for whatever comes overnight. But that's the thing is, what we saw going from 8 p.m. tonight through early tomorrow morning is so much more minimal than what we have for the afternoon stretch. You were talking about totals. So this is what we see all the way through Saturday. I'd say 1 to 2 inches seems to be pretty much the steady assumption. You look all the way up to Mission Viejo, and we're at 3.5 inches. And then if you head up to LA, 5 inches. And this is in addition to what's already fallen.
Yeah. So speaking of what's already falling, I'm actually pulling up the numbers here for the past 24-hour rainfall totals. Downtown San Diego has so far got about 7 hundredths of an inch. So
from yesterday.
Yeah. So not much.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Palomar Mountain got some, right?
Yes, Palomar Mountain. As I zoom on here.
4/10.
Bear with me. I believe Palomar Mountain got some of the most rain. Actually, Pine Valley got about 7/10.
Ooh.
Yeah, 3/4 of an inch. Actually,
drencher.
Mount Laguna. So just east of Pine Valley, they got about 3/4 of an inch. And I'm looking here, Valley Center got about a tenth of an inch over the past. Palomar Mountain has received over an inch.
Wow.
An inch and 7/100ths over the past 24 hours.
Right.
But what's more impressive, again, I know Evan
To
pulled
the
up these
north.
graphics here,
Yeah.
and we could get an additional close to 3.5 inches for Oxnard and Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara has already received about 4.25 inches just over the past 24 hours.
Add another 4 to that for Santa Barbara.
Yep.
Oof.
So the totals right now are coming in from LA, Santa Barbara, Ventura counties. Ventura got about close to 3 inches, about 2 inches and 8/10. So these numbers impressive. Not so much for
Yeah.
us in San Diego, though.
Well,
Typical.
so this is San Diego
Typical
County.
for
Our
us.
projected rainfall looks
Right.
like Fallbrook could get 2.3 inches,
Okay.
2 in Oceanside, 1.6 in Escondido, maybe not even a full inch in downtown San Diego. There's a chance that we rest at 9/10 of an inch. Alpine's over an inch. So some pretty good numbers for us. I mean, more than we're used to, of course, but still not enough to warrant, ideally not enough to warrant flash flooding concerns.
And Evan, I was off the past few days watching all of you very closely on my IG, and this storm was gonna be heavier for San Diego a few days ago, right?
Yeah.
And each time you run these graphics, it looks like it's adjusting.
And that's the thing.
Can you explain that? I mean,
so I don't know if
this all the time.
anyone's like been keeping track of people on Twitter and stuff. You'll always kind of have these outliers, these people who are not attached to any news organization
Right.
who will post stuff like catastrophic, most impactful storm ever to hit Southern California. This is why we don't forecast 2 weeks in advance.
Right.
You know?
It
Every
changes.
single day it changes.
And as you know, the way this is positioned right now, it's north of us. So by the time it gets to us, it will be weaker. So that's important for, I think, our viewers and listeners to really recognize.
Exactly.
Days ago, you may have been seeing, Southern California is going to get hit so hard. But we have not been, saying that necessarily for
no,
San
exactly.
Diego.
We haven't said that.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we all know that a day, let alone an hour, a minute makes a world of a difference when it comes to future projections.
They're literally changing by the minute.
Yes.
Especially when you're that far out, when you're a week out, we have so much that could happen in a matter of a week, which is why a week ago we were saying, sure, it looks like there is some rain, but we refused to kind of give those numbers
Right.
until we had some confidence in them.
It's because you've seen this time and time again.
Yes.
I mean, we see these storms that come through and they definitely weaken by the time they get to us, unless it's aimed straight for San Diego, which is rare because of our topography,
Right.
the way California is shaped. So that part is important. And for those of us who've been doing this for years, we recognize that.
Yeah.
I know. It's been, what, 10 years? So it's like,
We see this a
we
lot.
really have. It seems like this is going to be one of those storms that absolutely is enough to cause, I think, some delays on the roads, maybe even delays into and out of the airport in the afternoon
Right.
stretch. We hope not. But I'd say that's about as bad as things are going to get with this for us. That 3-day stretch on the 7-day forecast, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, they're all marked in red there because we call them weather impact alert days. We want to emphasize we're not telling you to cancel everything you're doing in those 3 days, but to just be weather aware, right?
Yeah.
To just be,
Of course.
aware of the impacts that you could see. Thursday really looks like a mild day mostly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the plus side is that sure, it's a weather impact day, but in terms of know where the puddles are, know where the storm's kind of clearing out, and then spend some time outside with the family in the sun. Ideally, we'll get a little bit of it Thursday afternoon. So it's not all, doom and gloom.
You might see a sunset on Christmas Day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's really good.
it does really look like
Timing is
a
good,
fine
yeah.
forecast. Last thing that we can show you here is the mountains and deserts. This, like we've talked about, is a warmer storm. So that means that we're not expected to see any snow toward our local mountains.
Right.
I think the mountain residents are bummed about that. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like if you're in Julian, there's nothing
You
that I
want a
want
white
more than a
Christmas.
white
No.
Christmas.
And even those visiting are like, let's go see some snow.
No, none for us. But Tahoe is
Yeah.
expecting a ton of snow. So for those of you traveling over the next couple days,
Big
expect some.
Bear might get some. So yeah, it's warmer. It's not going to be low level snow, but
Right.
it's coming to the north.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those very, very high elevations.
But typically, again, we're entering our wettest month. So, we can
Still
just
time.
hope that
Totally.
2026
There'll be more.
brings
God.
more local.
We haven't even
snow.
got to January.
I
mean,
know.
January, February, March, all the potential
Yeah.
months for snow. So it's more. There's more on the way. All right. Any final notes?
Just stay tuned to us. That's
Yeah.
all we ask. Yeah, we'll have all
Exactly.
the information you need, and of course, you've been working nonstop getting all
been
this,
doing it.
updated and making sure our viewers are fully aware.
Exactly. So feel free to download our CBS 8 app. You can get our streaming channel on there. It's all exclusive content. You can watch newscasts in their entirety, get these extended forecasts.
Best
all
app
through the
around.
holiday. Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly right.
3 meteorologists on a morning show.
That's right. All right. I will sign off. I'm Evan Irani.
I'm Netta Iranpour.
And I've Vanessa Paz.
Thanks for joining us on your Christmas Eve. Have a fantastic
Merry
holiday.
Christmas. Stay
Happy
safe.
holidays.
Stay safe. Yes.